Hi, folks. This is my man coming to you from parts unknown. Ha ha ha! I'll tell you what. I think every day more and more insults. It makes me think this has got to be a show. Got to be a show, and I'm looking forward more and more to the 19th in the rally. Something's got to give. This latest report from Biden, the Biden administration, and I'm starting to hear other creators use that term also, saying I don't want to use the name Biden because I don't believe it's Biden. That's what I've been saying. We all been saying, but I've been saying Biden administration. Letting go 11, I believe, Yemeni terror Oreos from, I guess, Guantanamo. Let them loose today. Nick Sortor reported. I'll read the report in a minute, but I want to thank everybody for showing up. Gary's first one in the house. Ha ha. Wayne's here. Says, give me a thumbs up. Yes, indeed. That would be very helpful. Sissy, flannel cheese. Debbie, nice to see you. Yeah, I was checking the news reports. Hi, Robin. And up until the last minute. And what pops up? But this report on Yemeni troublemakers that were in U.S. custody and now are supposedly free. And I got on my thumbnail, Triumph and Remembrance. And no resistance yet. So we'll get into that, what I mean by that. And of course, Trump is backed by popular demand. A lot of things are going to be backed by popular demand. And I started off the title with In the First Degree. In the first degree, what are we talking about? A lot of things in the first degree. But you know what they usually talk about? Red rum. Rudy Giuliani was talking about red rum in the first degree, discussing Ashley Babbitt. That's why I put today was Triumph. But we also have to remember Roseanne Boylan, Ashley Babbitt lost their lives. And we're going to see a comeuppance. I don't want to build up people's hopes, but do they really think they can try to destroy a nation in this manner, that they can destroy the reputation of a man like Rudy Giuliani and criminally deprive him of his rights, take all his property, take his legacy, and throw it in the trash pail and stomp on it? Continue to go after Trump in the way they're going after him. Continue this illegal psychological warfare campaign. Those two names, Ashley Babbitt and Roseanne Boylan, lost their lives. But add to that all the psychological damage, the financial destruction, the mayhem, the relationships that have been damaged, the harm to the body politic. And we have to focus and keep all those things in mind where we're able to communicate them and politically prosecute our position on the matter. Prosecute their abuse of the system. We can explain it. We can do like Reagan when he was asked about Jimmy Carter. He gave a verbal indictment, knew everything he had in mind, the reasoning behind it, irrefutable. and it launched him towards the White House on a trajectory that would not be altered, with a historic win over Jimmy Carter. By having the knowledge of what was going on, the abuses that were occurring, the mistakes that were being made, he was off to the races. So I see these lunatic lefties that are pumped up by Media Matters, George Soriosio. I heard Mark Garagos was involved with the Midas Trash Network. All those characters trying to cobble together a narrative of negativity and dancing around the edge of libel and trying to put up a resistance to reality. They rehearse it. They remember it. They share talking points. They move in a unified front. Well, we can do the same thing, and we can do it way better, because the truth is easy to remember. The truth is easy to remember. The casualties are famous people. They're right before our eyes. This isn't where, like a couple instances, like the man in Utah who put up some nasty posts about Biden, and he was a crippled old man, and they kicked his door down in Utah, and he didn't live 5 seconds. Stories like that come and go. But when it's these open and notorious and historic acts, like what happened 4 years ago in J6, like what they're doing to Rudy Giuliani and continuing to do, what they've done to Trump, what they've done to the borders, letting these Yemeni terrorists out, okay? Stuff like that. It's not hard to find, not hard to prove, not hard to remember, not hard to recite. We can get into the business of young children being approached by adults about matters of their sexuality, which is illegal, lewd and lascivious discussions, camouflaged in some kind of counseling or help. %90 of the people of this country, if they're presented with the things that I've just discussed and many, many more things we can go over, are not going to be for the persecutions that I just cited. They're not going to be for these things being done to our young people. There's videos coming out of China right now of what? Of people keeling over, hospitals being overrun, bulletins being put out. We're running out of hospital beds. People walking around wearing masks. Lockdowns in China. Videos getting to America about it. They're always plotting. They're always scheming. Something's coming around the corner. And people that look back at the last epo and endemic, I know it's not the proper pronunciation, any fair-minded person would see that was exacerbated, exaggerated, promulgated to disrupt our political system, and a very dangerous illness for people with compromise, physicality, age, obesity, pre-existing illnesses, much more lethality than a common virus. Yes, but not to the level they took it to. They want to do it again. What did they want to do? They wanted to shut down everybody's businesses. They wanted everybody to stop people from going to church, put forth all these draconian measures, make you put something in your body. What kind of world is that? It all happened. It's all real. It's not a story to scare people. It happened. And they want to do it again. And who knows what else they got up their sleeve? What else happened that we all saw, most of us, and we all remember, that they wouldn't think twice about doing again? 9 and then 1. Thousands of people. What else did they do besides that? A young president riding in an open limousine literally gets his head, I'll say, exploded in front of the world. The most vicious and corrupt people on the face of the earth. That's what we're dealing with. And today went smooth. And like I've said in the past, like my dad used to say, when things are going good, that's when you start getting your antennas up. So, yeah, we'll keep our head on a swivel. I didn't mean to start with such bombacity, but we're coming down to crunch time. We're coming down to crunch time, and the people need information, and the people need direction. And I believe that is what the 19th is going to be about. So, hi, Flannel Cheese. How you doing? Nice to see you. Debbie's here. Sherry. Sherry, I said hi twice. That's good. Let's see. KNS Cleanup. Nice to see you also. Gloria. Cola. Jess and Bean. Darla. Well, I'd like to think that too, Sissy. I really would. I really would. But I was watching Rudy's podcast. I was listening to it while I was getting some stuff together to be able to do my broadcast. And hi, Pappy Two Bears. How you doing? And he was talking about how they destroyed his testimony to the J6 committee. And who was interrogating or questioning or whatever? Rudy Giuliani. Kissinger. Adam Kissinger. And Rudy Giuliani said, Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro, they couldn't really testify without proper release from the president because of not presidential immunity, but privilege, executive privilege. And Rudy Giuliani said, well, I talked to Trump and he waived it for me. He said, go in there and kick their ASS. And Rudy Giuliani said, that's exactly what I did. That's why they destroyed my testimony. Hi, Todd. How you doing? Mac, how you doing? He said, I walked in there with a file under my arm, evidence. He said, prior to me going for my hearing, I talked to some of my top investigators in the homicide division in New York, retired and current, showed them the video of a tiny young lady, as he put it, standing next to obvious members of Antifa, who were using large rocks or boulders to bang on the door. And Ashley Babbitt was surrounded by these people. One of them was by the name of John Sullivan. I got a video taken down because of him. Led to my first channel getting evaporated, nucleared. But anyway, this character, they got emails from him. I don't know if they tried to destroy their copies of the emails. I know other agencies probably still have them preserved, where John Sullivan was calling for anti-fiscal people to show up. And they couldn't wait till January 20th. That the goal that day was to take Trump out. What did they mean by take Trump out? Rudy felt that just those emails should have been enough to get a warrant for his arrest. His name again is John, is the first name. And the second name is Sullivan. I split them up so I don't trigger the rhythm. So, with those emails, with the video evidence, because Sullivan was standing right there when Ashley lost her life. So were the people that were being violent right next to her. She felt threatened. No weapon, no nothing. Was trying to get in the door, through the window, whatever. With what, a half a dozen violent men by herself? And you know what happened. So Giuliani said, yeah, I'm here for my testimony, Mr. Raskin. I'm here to assist. How do you put it? I'm here to assist or aid in the prosecution of the first-degree murder of Ashley Babbitt. I've got the evidence you need right here. And he said, I had it in my file. I didn't open it up so you could see him. I said, do you want this? You want the evidence right here? I'll help you prosecute. Because a heinous crime was committed. I'll help any way I can. And he said from there on, he just slapped Raskin around like a rag doll. And next thing you know, they destroyed his testimony. Hi, Angela. How you doing? Andrew, nice to see you. Nice to see you. Ha ha. I hope you all are dealing with this storm that's been rampaging. Not that big a deal. Not that big a deal. I've seen a lot worse, and I know some people are going to get it pretty bad, and it's no fun. And broken pipes aren't any fun, and hopefully people have backup heat, some propane camp stove if they don't have a fireplace or a wood stove, something like that. So this was tonight, Giuliani was saying that. We had somebody commit, I hate having to play games with words, but such is life for right now. We had somebody commit red rum, cold-blooded red rum, in the nation's capital right before the eyes of the people. The media didn't even try to show the whole story. So if People think Trump is going to say, okay, let's all try to get along, just forget about the past. Let's all work together to lift America up uh, and not address these heinous crimes. As I said, he's not personally going to be involved. He's got people that will proceed with necessary prosecutions. It's their job. It's their duty. He has people that are going to take their oath seriously, respect the law, and go after the people that need to be gone after. How is he going to introduce that to people? I've heard from two different media outlets, one Fox News, and the other, I believe it was Jack Posobiec, used the term shock and awe. That he's got to hit the ground, not just running. I mean, to hit the ground with an earthquake when he starts. And whatever he does, whichever way actions he takes, has to be understood by the people. Has to occur with and by popular demand. And the only way we can achieve that is through transparency and educating the public. The level of abuses that have been heaped upon not just the American people, but the world since 2016 is mind-boggling. The people that were involved is unimaginable. The amount of people that are going to have to suffer some kind of comeuppance. That's the reason why 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, during my broadcasts, I was explaining to people mens res, actus res, your actions and the meaning, what you were meaning to do of your actions. So that's going to be an education a lot of Americans are going to get. Some people may have been in good faith supporting these narratives because that's all they know. That's all they've been told. They trust who they got the information from. Some of them may have known that they were spouting BS, but thought that it was for a good cause to help the country. But some people actually intended to disrupt, remove, destroy the prior administration under Trump, and also want to destroy the American system as we know it, and were malicious in their actions. So I believe there's been like Rudy Giuliani had a file under his arm when he went in to see Kissinger about the J6 committee. I believe that some very gifted minds have been dealing with this nation within a nation, this bureaucratic state as far as who is actually behaving in a criminal manner and those who are stupid. Okay, that's a generalization. There's shades of difference in there that have meaning and weight when it comes to crime and punishment, to the law. So, hi, Wanda, how you doing? Haha, right. They were nice. Why? A serpent waiting to bite. That's why I put in my thumbnail, no resistance yet. I was telling you all, and I guess I'll play it whenever I do a picture show, but some 60-some-year-old liberal saying, oh, yeah, the 14th Amendment, we're going to get Trump out. He's not even going to get certified. This was just the other day, trying to do that broccoli hair, they call it. I guess he got it permanent, but trying to be with the young crowd and spewing that line about Trump being an insurrectionist. All those creators who have been intimating something was going to happen because of the 14th Amendment and the certification. And I already told you that they all look like they've been on a long drunk, haven't been getting no sleep. Their points aren't coherent. How are they going to behave now? They don't have a unified message except some worn out cliches, proven fallacies, and cheap slander and libel that they try to package in some form of intellectualism, and it's stressing them out. You can see it. But then you have Democrats jumping ship, trying to kiss up, okay? Trying to hide their wolfish personas in a sheep's clothing. Like Muriel Bowser, she was giving an interview and she acted like she was actually sane. Well, we need to bring life back to DC. We've got all these businesses, of course they blame it on COVID. They blame it on the events, air quotes, events. I guess people have to read into whatever she means by events that have caused DC to be stunted and crippled. Nobody wants to see a bunch of empty office buildings. So we have to rethink the teleworking and get people back into DC and make it lively again. All those people would excite the business industry, restaurant industry and service industries and shopping, if we can get the people to come back and physically work instead of work from home. Oh, well, that sounds so reasonable to somebody who doesn't have their ear to the ground or their eyeballs open like we do. I think they put the figure at 10,000 people are supposed to be, quote, working from home. The kind that ride around the car by themselves with a mask on still and get six-figure checks from the government for doing nothing but being a liberal activist. Well, Muriel Bowser, they aren't doing nothing when they're sitting on their rear ends except sucking us dry and agitating for leftist causes. So bringing them into the city and making them sit in the chairs isn't going to change that. They're dead weight. They got to go. She's sucking up to Trump, acting like she is a pro-business person now. And we need these people with these high wages coming into D.C. to spur the city economically. On the surface, it sounds great, but just under the surface, they're just trying to save their rear ends from Trump pulling the Elon and taking out the trash, getting rid of the dead weight. So we'll see how that plays out. But if I was Trump, I'd do just what Trump's doing. Listen to her and smile and nod. Well, I'll take that into consideration. That's some things I was told to say many times. I'll make a note of that. Let me see. Oh, really? I'll make a note of that. I'll take that into consideration. Or just smile and go, oh, wow. To get through that inauguration. Then you'll see what he's taken into consideration. But we've got literally billions of dollars being paid out to do nothing deadweight political activists and operatives. And we're going to get rid of it. We don't even want them at work, Debbie. We don't want them on payroll. Well, hopefully that's a long time from now, Gary. We don't want you going anywhere, buddy. Hi, Ann. Nice to see you. Well, Pappy, that's true. They're doing all kinds of things that will eat up time for Mr. T to undo. Listen, I'm sure he's got a team, just like he's got a team that posts for him on Truth Social. He's got to reverse a lot of stuff, and they're draining the Treasury, and this business of selling U.S. steel to Japan, that's off the table now. The Biden administration claims that they don't think it's best for America. But I believe what really happened is Trump made his comments. Why sell U.S. steel? It's a great bargaining chip. It will make so much money producing our own steel. And what the heck, I'm going to reverse it. I'm sure that's all the Japanese needed to hear. I don't think the Biden administration came to the conclusion that the sale needed to go through. I think they were told Trump doesn't play. We're not going to do it. I think they backed out on their own. Hi, Marla. How you doing? Trump has more of an impact just by being president-elect than Biden ever had while he was president. Here it is. Breaking. Joe Biden just released 11 Yemeni terrorists from Guantanamo Bay just days before leaving office. Infuriating. These terrorists were captured in the aftermath of 9/11, and despite the rapidly deteriorating state of the Middle East, Biden decided to send them back into the field anyway. And he went on to say this man Another word I got to watch what I'm saying, hates America. That's what he said. I mean, I'm just reading what he said. Angela, is that story I just read what you're asking about? Letting those 11 Yemenis go? And, him giving those goofball medals out. I was talking about that last night. And I said, well, who did I leave out? I just had them in my head. And turns out I left out, we talked about Mitt Romney's son, but also a former director of Planned Parenthood. I mean, that what a sickening list of human beings to give that medal to. And the other one was Bill Nye, the science guy. He's not even a scientist. He was on Nickelodeon doing some eighth grade science projects on a kids channel. Ended up having a voice in our foreign policy and our budget with this climate hoax and Green New scam. So talk about a rogues gallery. And what's that medal called? It is the presidential, I'm not sure what it's called, but like somebody said, it ain't worth a damn now. I mean, the notorious criminals that they're hanging those medals around their neck. What good is it? Who wants to be in that damn club? You know the names. Brett Favre said, what words would you use to describe the White House medals that were given out? Because I'm honestly speechless. What words would you use to describe that medal? I'm looking at the picture of this medal. So I forget the name of it. So on top of the, if they could have approved the deal to sell U.S. steel, they would have. And I just explained to you why they didn't. It wasn't because they're smart. But on top of the all the other crap they've been throwing, the putting a ban on offshore drilling is another way to attempt to slow up Trump's agenda. But remember, on all this stuff, in a state of emergency or if there's been an act of war or the president can conscript, okay, companies. All right. I told a story about the Howard Johnson's yacht getting conscripted into the Merchant Marine. I talked about what they did during the CVID with masks and respirators. He just picks up the phone and says, here's what you're going to do. And it would have been the same thing with U.S. Steel. And a foreign entity buying a U.S. company days before Trump comes to office, they knew if Trump didn't want it to happen, it wasn't going to go through. They were just going to waste their time, inculcate bad will to the incoming administration, probably lose a barrel of money. And so they just backed out. So we'll see. I'm sure Trump has taken a master class in presidential powers. I'm sure that they have uh, reviewed the actions of Abraham Lincoln, okay? How he exercised his executive authority. I've said it before. How many news? He shut down hundreds of papers. He arrested editors. I mean, they weren't reporting news. They were inciting. And he conducted long drops with short ropes right there in front of the Capitol, just in case anybody had any ideas in their head. So I'm sure all that stuff's been under review, ongoing review, just like how Lindsey Graham relied on the case where Roosevelt had those German spies that were captured on U.S. soil. Actually, they landed on the beach and were captured. One got into this town or city or something, changed their clothes, and then got caught later on. Whatever, but it was do not pass go. You get the ultimate penalty. You're an unlawful combatant. And they tried to take it to Supreme Court on an expedited basis. And that was what established the military justice system having the power when it comes to unlawful combatants to handle things in an expedited way. I'll put it that way. So, yeah. I believe that there is, I've said before, he's making a list, checking it twice. Who's an unlawful combatant? And that'll have a lot to do with the mens res, the meanings of their actions versus actus reus. Some people will be declared unlawful combatants, and they'll be dealt with just as has been upheld by the Supreme Court in the past, and powers that were exercised by Abraham Lincoln during the Civil War. We've got stare decisis, okay? Decisions that have already been made and accepted going from World War II on back to the Civil War. And I'm sure there are other cases that we just don't have general knowledge of, but there are people in charge that do have knowledge. So the extreme seriousness of never mind the media whitewashing and varnishing, any term a lot of people don't like, but polishing the turd, so to speak. All that's got to be ripped aside. And the average person, we're not average. We are more informed because we've kept ourselves informed for years, for going on a decade, many of you more than that. All the conspiracy theories turned out to be facts. All the things where they're saying we're the crazy people, turns out, no, we're the smart people. Well, we've got to get the average American up to speed. And if Trump is going to hit the ground running, we can use that term, or if he is going to do a shock and awe, because he's only got 48 months. All the preparatory surgery's been done. I've likened it to removing a humongous tumor. And like Trump has said many times in the past, the cure can't be worse than the disease. We got to, it's like all this preparatory work's got to be been done. And now it's time to lift this tumor out, okay, and start sewing up. Can't chip away at it, take it out like a little piece at a time, you know. All the sinew, connected tissue and veins and feeder veins and all that's been removed. It's time to pull the tumor out of the patient. I know it's kind of a gross way to put it, but that's where we're at. America's walking around with a goiter or a tumor the size of a beach ball underneath its chin. Uncle Sam walking around with this big goiter, and all the other countries going, "Hi, Uncle Sam, you look great," because they're part of the tumor. But no, we're getting rid of it. And so, how is he going to do it? I mean, there has to be a popular understanding of the level of corruptness and the heinousness of the acts and exposure of who is the enemy of the people. And just by Trump being a lone voice out there saying the media ain't enough. Now, if he says it on a stage that has the attention of the entire world, and we have an honest media, I know that's a lot to ask. But if they have an understanding, which I think many of them do, that if you intentionally twist or distort what's coming from an official with knowledge who's speaking facts, if you knowingly distort that, you're a criminal and you'll be treated as such. I think that a lot of people have gotten that message. I mean, we got the Sonny Houstons and dopes like that running around, but they're not newscasters. They're personalities. But I have watched this dopey David Pakmans and other types going, why is Trump having his rally on the 19th? They're actually putting it out there that Trump is trying to incite his cult members. For what? We won. He's going to be inaugurated the next day. Incite us to what? But the point is, I'm kind of asking the same question too. I don't think he's doing it to incite. I think he's doing it to inform. And I could be overly hoping, but I think he's gonna drop some red pills, and prepare people. What was that saying I had? Mercy to the guilty is cruelty to the victim. We got to let people know that people that have hurt our country, hurt our neighbors, committed crimes have to answer. Oh, we know that, Angela. We know it's not a cult, but that's the line they're still trying to go down. That's why they spent a month piddling, fiddling, and diddling with votes in California, weeks up in Pennsylvania, to distort the popular vote. And who knows what they did before Election Day to distort the popular vote. A lot of people are going to have to answer for that. He may say on the 19th, we've got names, we got evidence, we've got video of a large number of people that were involved in distorting the popular vote. And I said on True Social 3 or 4 times, you will go to jail if you do that. And I'm just reminding everybody, the night before I get sworn in, promises made, promises kept. So don't be surprised. Might be something as simple as that. But you see these liberals running for the conservative hills. I talked about Stink Uger trying to get on conservative programs, act like he has a brain in his head. It's all a farce. And Muriel Bowser acting like she's all concerned about the economy of D.C. and bringing back life to the city. That's all a bunch of garbage. She's trying to save her rear end. Don't forget she's married to, what's her name? The one that gave Hillary the answers to the debate, the questions and the answers. What's her face? You all know who I'm talking about. She was on Fox News for a while. Zuckerberg, Buck, whatever his name is, he made an announcement. Show you how much they're sucking up. He made an announcement that Joe Rogan is going to be helping him out. What is that story about? No, Dana White. I thought I read Dana White onto the board of Meta. Did you all hear about that? Mark, I talked about it about 20 minutes ago about the Yemenis getting let out. But did you all hear? And Trump has been going to the arenas, going to the fights, getting a big hero's welcome. Dana White owns it, the Ultimate Fighting, or what do they call that stuff? Zuckerberg adds Dana White to the Meta board. Mark Zuckerberg, I'm excited to kick off the year with some news we've been working on for a while. Dana White, John Elkin, and Charlie Songhurst are joining Meta's board of directors. We have massive opportunities ahead in AI, wearables, like the guy in New Orleans was wearing. What are you talking about? I guess, yeah, Donna Brazil. Thank you, Angela, and Diane, too. Thank you, Diane. And the future of social media, and our board will help us achieve our vision. Some background on each. Dana is the president and CEO of UFC, and he has built it into one of the most valuable, fastest growing, and most popular sports enterprises in the world. I've admired him as an entrepreneur and his ability to build such a beloved brand. And this guy, I don't know, this John, what's his face? President of Exor. Do y'all know anything about this? Who this person is? Not that I care who's on this board of Meta, but putting a Trump ally and confidant on the board of Meta is going to get the liberals freaking out. We'll see what those talking heads. I don't know who these other guys are. This John Elkann, CEO of a company called Exor, EXOR, and chairman of two of Exor's auto portfolio companies, Stellantis and Ferrari. He has deep experience in running large global businesses, and he brings an international perspective to our board. The other guy's name is Charlie Songhurst. I don't know. I've never heard of these guys. Charlie Songhurst, he's an investor who previously led strategy teams at Microsoft. He joined Meta Advisory last year to advise on our AI technology roadmaps. I'm excited to add him to our board now. I look forward to working, blah, 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 blah. It's going to be a big year for Meta, and I'm excited to have him on board. So he's got a, I don't know, you want to say protege of Bill Gates? He was at Microsoft. I don't know. What does Dana White know about this kind of stuff? I believe so, Angela. Yeah, putting Meta means dead in Hebrew. Yeah, he's putting watchdogs in powerful places. I just don't know how much Dana White knows about that. But, you know, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But it's just another liberal that's sucking up to Trump. Like Trump said, Mar-a-Lago is the center of the universe. They're all coming to see him. Zuckerberg might end up like Trudeau. Trudeau came to see Trump, and now they're pulling a scam with this resignation business. He's not resigning for almost half a year from now. They're doing what's called proroguing Parliament, which is a parliamentary move out. The last one I heard that it could do that was Queen Elizabeth. Prorogue Parliament. But Canada was underneath the royal umbrella, so to speak, right? And he announced his resignation as leader of the party, the Liberal Party, and his future resignation as prime minister sometime in March. But the news organizations are saying, oh, Trudeau's stepping down. I copied a little video of Trump taking a chair with Justin Trudeau in it and throwing it in the dumpster. But 5 months is almost a half a year, and that's a long damn time. Look how much aggravation and trouble and stress has been put on the people watching the Biden administration bumble around for 75 days. That's 2.5 months. That's half the time Trudeau's going to be in office. And if they put a pause, so I guess that's the best way to, at least the best way I can describe proroguing Parliament. They're pausing their activity. So what's he going to do? Just run around doing whatever the hell he wants? Cause a lot of trouble that way. Yeah, Mark, a medal of shame. That's what they call the damn thing. A medal of shame. But Trump put this out again, and I had a bunch of truths from Trump last night, lengthy, and they all give us an idea what he's doing. And it gives his opponents information where they can, like he says, plan accordingly. In other words, if you do something obviously opposite of what I'm laying out, you're going to get yourself in trouble. Unless you want to go to the mat. So plan accordingly, okay? So he put out there, members of Congress are getting to work on one powerful bill that will bring our country back and make it greater than ever before. We must secure our border, unleash American energy, and renew the Trump tax cuts, which were the largest in history. But we will make it even better. No tax on tips. It will be made up with tariffs and much more from countries that have taken advantage of the U.S. for years. Republicans must unite and quickly deliver these historic victories for the American people. Get smart, tough, and send the bill to my desk as soon as possible. Make America great again. That's when he put that out again, when they were saying, well, we can't put it all in one bill. We'll have to separate the tax cuts from the rest of the bill, because it's going to take us months, maybe even a year, to work on tax. Bull hockey, okay? I was looking at the 16th Amendment. I'll read some of the stuff about that. When they first started taxing, that is when there were so many countries got the ability to take advantage of us. Receipts for tariffs and import duties plummeted, and the burden on workers in this country skyrocketed. Countries were getting a free ride on the backs of the U.S. taxpayers. It's just that simple. It opened the door for foreign countries, most particularly Europe, to feed off of the sweat of our brow and our great-grandparents, our grandparents, and parents, and us. Prior to that, they had to pay us. Another truth that Trump put out said, the story in the Washington Post, quoting so-called anonymous sources, which don't exist, incorrectly states that my tariff policy will be pared back. That is wrong. The Washington Post knows it's wrong. It's just another example of fake news. So he's focused today on taxes and tariffs and what the Biden administration is doing. Prior to the news of the release of the Yemenis, Trump put out, Biden is doing everything possible to make the transition in capital letters as difficult as possible. From lawfare such as never seen before to costly and ridiculous executive orders on the Green New scam and other money-wasting hoaxes. Fear not, these, quote, orders, unquote, will all be terminated shortly, and we will become a nation of common sense and strength. MAGA. Now, he also talked about Greenland, which maybe I'll get to tonight, but hey, that stuff's moving forward. Canada and Greenland are going to be on the table. People have speculated, is it going to be like the Louisiana Purchase? No, I don't think that's the way it's going to be. I think it's going to be by popular demand. I think it's going to be something that will happen if the people of Greenland want it, and if the people of Canada want it. Canada. If they want it, they'll get it. Popular demand. It's going to be like, oh, we'll buy Canada off somebody. We may compensate the little powers that be, which are going to be reduced to even smaller powers that be when this is all over with, over in Denmark or wherever the hell we go. And I believe the people in Greenland will vote for it. And we'll see what happens with Canada. Trump said many people in Canada love being the 51st state. The United States can no longer suffer the massive trade deficits and subsidies that Canada needs to stay afloat. Justin Trudeau knew this and resigned. If Canada merged with the U.S., there would be no tariffs, taxes would go way down, and it would be totally secure from the threat of the Russian and Chinese ships that are constantly surrounding them. Together, what a great nation it would be. And I have to get my my book of James Bennett. He gave us some of the history of how close Canada came to joining with George Washington and with the Continental Congress. Yeah, Todd, it's not going to be until March, they say. So I looked up, just to refresh my memory, on this 16th Amendment, which is when they said government has the right to tax personal income from any source whatsoever, any amount, which is insane. I knew that when I was 8 years old in government class reading this. Like, well, who in the hell would vote for that? But they said, what are some of the arguments against the 16th Amendment? The argument against it is based on the premise that all federal income tax laws are unconstitutional because the 16th Amendment was not officially ratified, or because the state of Ohio was not properly a state at the time of ratification. I never heard that argument before, but now we heard it. Proponents mistakenly believe, this is from www.irs.gov. So opponents mistakenly believe that courts have refused to address this issue. They call this article "The Truth About Frivolous Tax Arguments." So Wikipedia has the arguments about the 16th Amendment. A brief synopsis says the proper ratification of the 16th Amendment is disputed by tax protesters who argue that the quoted text of the amendment differed from the text proposed by Congress, or that Ohio was not a state during ratification, despite its admission to the Union on March 1st, 1803, more than a century prior. I never heard the Ohio thing, but I did hear that the quoted text had been changed. Some people say surreptitiously changed. So from there, I went on. Why was the 16th Amendment passed and how was it ratified? The 16th Amendment allows Congress to levy an income tax without apportioning it among the states on the basis of population. It was passed by Congress in 1909 in response to the 1895 Supreme Court case of Pollock versus Farmers Loan and Trust Company. I knew about that. And The odd thing about that is that case, Pollock versus the loan company, was heard by the Supreme Court in 1895. That rang a bell. Trump said it was the most consequential election in 129 years, 124 years. It came out to whatever the number came out to 1895. And I said, well, that's when McKinley was in office, right? The tariff president that they assassinated was also the year that the Supreme Court disallowed taxes being taken from individuals because it was not apportioned equally among the states based on population. In other words, it would have been impossible to apply it. They would have took barrels of money from one state and not a lot from another. William Howard Taft, the 27th president of the United States, now this is according to Wikipedia, claims this. Claims that Taft proposed the amendment to the Constitution in 1909. The amendment was ratified by the required number of states on February 3rd, 1913, during Taft's presidency. Woodrow Wilson, 28th president, took office just 1 month later. The story is that Woodrow Wilson won the election and was riding a tide of progressive liberalism, and that is what helped the amendment pass because of Woodrow Wilson, his popularity, because he won the election and he was going to take office in 30 days, and all the progressives, namely commie rats, got together to help push this through back in 1913. The 16th Amendment gave Congress the power to collect taxes on income from any source without regard to census or apportionment among states. The amendment was a response to the Supreme Court ruling of Pollock versus Farmer Loan Trust Company. It also fixed a flaw in the original Constitution, which attempted to distinguish between direct and indirect taxes. Remember that term, folks, direct and indirect taxes. Fix a flaw in the Constitution. That's telling me that the 16th Amendment is at odds with the original Constitution. I don't know of a flaw in the Constitution. A flaw? I believe this amendment is a flaw. The amendment's ratification was made easier, here we go, by the rise of the Progressive Party and the Democrats' party victory in the 1912 presidential election. The first federal income tax was introduced in 1913, setting a normal rate on both individual and corporate income of, guess what the percentage was? Guess what the percentage was of the first tax enacted on corporate and personal? Anybody got an idea what the percentage was on when they first enacted it? Hi, Doug. Yeah, scallywag dog tag. Yeah, that's right. Anybody want to take a guess what the first tax rate was? It was the same amount whether you were an individual or a corporation? Anybody want to take a guess what the percentage was? I'm waiting to see if we get any guesses. There's two cases that are interesting. I want to just give you outlines of. One was in 1984 and one was in 1990. Actually, Lincoln put the first personal tax by an executive order to help pay for the Civil War. Pappy Two Bears, did you goggle that? I should always say no goggling on Mountain Man quizzes. Be honest. Larry said 13%. Todd said it was 1%. Okay, I should remind people no goggling. So look what they've done. Just what I said. You give them the keys to your piggy bank and they're going to clean it out. It might take them decades and decades. But when John F. Kennedy took the oath of office, the tax rate was at 90%. Oh, but nobody ever paid that much. Oh, really? They claim the right to it. Let's see. In the context of income taxes on wages, salaries, and other forms of compensation for personal services, United States versus Connor. Personal services like tips, no tax on tips. That's why I thought this was interesting. It was a tax evasion conviction that was being appealed. Taxpayers' argument that because the 16th Amendment wages were not taxable was rejected by the court. The taxpayers' argument was that an income tax on wages is required to be apportioned by population was also rejected. That was in 1984. Perkins v. the Commissioner. The United States Appeals Court, to be in full accordance with the congressional authority on the 16th Amendment to the Constitution to impose taxes on income without apportionment among the states, taxpayers' argument that wages paid for labor are non-taxable was rejected by the Supreme Court. Yeah. But there's something there, okay? And I think Trump that might be the issue he wants to discuss with the world on the 19th at the rally. That there's no flaw in our Constitution. But what gets me is the taxes on wages, salaries, and other forms of compensation for personal services. And I think that's why Trump is introducing it as no tax on tips. Gary, yeah, you are. You're more educated than me. All y'all are. So it's one thing that I think both sides are curious about. Why has Trump decided to do this extracurricular rally the night before his inauguration? I think he's going to, I'm more inclined to say that it's going to be a joyous, I hate to put it as gift. I don't think it's a gift. I think it's going to be a joyous, I hate to say revelation, that our original Constitution does not permit taxes for labor and personal services. And just by doing this dopey, liberal, commie amendment in 1913, you can't override the Constitution. Maybe that's what he's going to be saying. And tell everybody to go have a great life, make as much money as your body and mind can allow you to do, and bona fortuna, okay? Good for you. Well, corporations are different, Todd. Rockefellers, Morgans, Rothschilds. Rockefeller was so mad when he had to go and pay income tax, he paid it all in dimes. Did you hear that story? Hi, Devin, how are you? He paid it all in dimes. Yeah, it was 1%, Angela. 1%. They may have gotten away with it if they'd have just said, if they'd have said they can't tax you any more than 1%. They may have got away with it, but they've abused everything. Everything, every point of public trust that they were given, they violated. Trump put out, I am hearing that the people of Greenland are MAGA. My son, Don Jr., and various representatives will be traveling there to visit some of the most significant areas and sites. Greenland is an incredible place, and the people will benefit tremendously if and when it becomes a part of our nation. We will protect it, cherish it from a very vicious outside world. Make Greenland great again. So, you know what? Off like that. Whew. Sorry about that. Now I'm on as a guest. How much sense does that make? Okay, now I'm here. Head me up as a guest. Ha 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 ha. Okay, Ann says maybe announce CBS, global currency, tech stuff. Gary said, yes, Ann, maybe so. Yeah, it might be the National Economic Security Recovery Act. How was it? National Economic Security Act, Security and Recovery Act. How's that? Nasara. It might be both. It might be just Sarah and Nasara. He'll announce. Boy, that would be big, wouldn't it? Yeah, maybe I'm thinking small. Ha ha ha! I'm a doppelganger. But let me see and make sure I don't fall off again. Holy cow! So Babylon B put out Trudeau to be humanely euthanized with a picture of Trudeau. You know what? I put in, you know how when you go on Goggle and you start to type something and right away it puts a line of suggestions, right? I typed in J6 and right away there's a bunch of stuff. J6 riots, J6 this, and I put fatalities. Guess what came up on my screen? Blank, white, nothing. I put J6 fatalities. Nothing showed up. But anyway, I hit the look button and it came up with how many people passed away as a result of the Capitol riot. And this was from factcheck.org. Claim the Capitol riot on January 6th was a terror attack that resulted in almost 10 dead. Claimed by Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. But anyway, you got to go through all that crap to get down to who actually passed away. And we know the ones that were seen being beaten, which was Roseanne Boyland. I was listening to a broadcast of a guy who was in the tunnel and saw her getting pounded with batons, kicked, punched for a long, long time. Name was Citizen Man. I don't know where he's at now. And we all saw it happen to Ashley. Yeah, it's a ridiculous, Angela. That's goggle for you. That's goggle for you. So anyway, that's why it's important to not only look at this day as a triumph, but to look at it as remembrance. Hi, Hebrew. How you doing? With Ashley Babbitt, and I rely on like when I get aggravated, like it was Friday night. I rely on what Trump was saying. Every wrong can be righted. Okay, we can address these things. What we've all heard for years and years, that this is going to be a major geopolitical shift. This is going to be a biblical change, and we're here for a reason. And like Dan Scavino said, us, the kids, the grandkids, be talking about it for the next 100 years. Hi, Island Girl. How you doing? So I can only wait in anticipation what kind of cards they have left to play. They might dream up something completely out of left field. But it appears like some of the stuff they're doing is just downright desperate. Downright desperate. I'm just looking through the chats. Oh, there, Angela, there's any industry. The president can compel for national security purposes, states of emergency, a declaration of war, can compel industries to do what he says, okay? And yeah, I think he's gonna. I think on the 19th he's gonna lay out some stuff in his very singular and unique manner of communication. I think it's going to be something that is going to cause excitement and celebration in anticipation of him taking the oath of office. I think it is. I don't think it's going to be anything scary at all. I think it's going to be wow, a wow moment. I I could be wrong. I just don't see why Trump would have a rally the night before his inauguration if he wasn't going to do something spectacular for the people. Where did you see 55 stars? Island girl on a flag. That would be Greenland and Canada getting four in four districts, right? Four states. That would make 55 stars on Old Glory. Gary's quoting Don Jr. Don Jr. retweeted Trump saying certification, a historic certification today. He put, "Let's go." Yeah, a Google account. How you doing? Uh, they sure did. Jamie Ratskin kept on talking about the 14th Amendment, acting like something was going to happen to stop Trump. A lot of creators were coming out talking about it. I showed you Harry Litman, his video he did on the 14th Amendment, and it was absolutely nothing. There was zero resistance today. Are they wanting us to let our guard down? I know Trump ain't going to let his guard down. And whatever he's going to communicate to people on the 19th, I feel is one of the biggest secrets right now. The left isn't going to know what he's saying. I think it is. I think what he's going to tell us on the 19th is within that circle of what we were told was 10 people. 10 people. They may have something up their sleeve, a Google account, but he's got some long sleeves, and he's got some up his sleeves too. And I think they don't know what he's going to say. It's got to be driving them nuts. I am not going to be distraught or drive myself nuts. I'm excited for what he's going to say. And I don't think I'm the only one. I think millions of people, not just in America, but all around the world, are excited. What could he be possibly doing? Why would he have this rally to just, do a YMCA dance? No, there's a purpose behind it. And on the other side, like I said the other night, it could be a exercise just to flush out bad actors before the formal inauguration. That might be what it is. And if it is, if I am disappointed and he does something, where he says, no tax on tips, no tax on Social Security, and no tax on dog food or something minor, I'm not going to be disappointed. I'm going to take it as just what I said, an operation to clear the minefield and flush out any potential threats. So anyway, folks, let's see what he put out a lot of tweets. I mean, and Diamond Silk put out something that there's a class action lawsuit with the J6 prisoners where they're suing the J6 prisoners are suing for $50 billion. Did you all hear that? That's a good start. The bad thing about it is they're suing the government, which means the people have to pay that. Before I read that, Trump reposted Elon Musk's tweet where Elon Musk said, had this election not been won by Donald Trump, civilization would have been lost. Elon Musk. And then right after that, he put out, why would they want to sell U.S. steel now when tariffs will make it a much more profitable and valuable company? Wouldn't it be nice to have U.S. Steel, once the greatest company in the world, lead the charge toward greatness again? It can all happen very quickly. So, yeah, I would be all for winning a big lawsuit, but I'd like to see it be against the promulgators of the event personally. The George Sorosios and Nancy Pelosios. Did you see that video of Nancy Pelosi walking around with a walker? I'll see that video of her using a walker. Now she's 84 years old. And that reminds me, too, when Trump finishes this term, he's going to be 2 years younger than Nancy Pelosi is now. But anyway, I might have downloaded that little video. She's toddling around with a walker, and they said she had an interview where she was acting so bonkers and weird that people are thinking she's lost her brains, like Joe. And something else. The coronation ball. That's what Jack Posobiec put up, a thing called the coronation ball, like a dance. On the 19th is going to be at the Watergate Hotel. I don't know what that's about. Is that a statement about the Nixon administration, how he was his silent coup they pulled against him, what they're doing? Now they're going to have Trump's rally at the Capitol Center, right? But according to Jack Posobiec, there's going to be some kind of gala at the Watergate Hotel on the 19th. So I find that interesting because we know that Trump is tied, has a lot of respect for Nixon. Louisiana Department of Health. Here we go from clandestine. Louisiana Department of Health reports the first fatality from bird flu. The patient was over 65, had underlying conditions. Do we need to be afraid of bird flu? This is clandestine talking. I don't think so. Do we need to be afraid of our government utilizing bird flu to manufacture another pandemic? Yes. And I told you about those videos coming out of coming out of China, where people are supposedly falling over in the streets and hospitals overloaded. Here it is, breaking. J6 political prisoners file a landmark $50 billion lawsuit against the DOJ. Over 100 individuals incarcerated for their roles in Capitol protests have come together to launch an unprecedented $50 billion class action lawsuit against the DOJ. That's only 100 of them. What was it, almost 1,000? And before the day is over, I want to remind you all, Rudy Giuliani, he's the only one I saw to post this, folks. He's the only one to post this. January 6th is the holy day where we remember the Epiphany, quote, the manifestation, unquote, of the infant Jesus as the Savior of all humanity. It's when the wise men came to acknowledge the King of Kings. January 6th. And Rudy's the only one I saw put that out. So something else to think about. A day of triumph and remembrance. Is that a coincidence that today's a day of Epiphany? What is an epiphany? An epiphany is, you could fairly say, an awakening. When people have an epiphany. Something to think about. So anyway, folks, I guess that's probably the best thing we could close out on is recognizing the significance of this day beyond our present worldly situation. Yeah, I think people are so sick of this business of if they try the mask crap and all that. Man, I think people are so sick of that. Hi, Greg. How you doing? I don't know what the Julian calendar is. I don't know. Yeah, I appreciate that, Angela. Yeah, if you all would hit the like button for me, I would greatly appreciate it. And I do at the beginning of the show last night. I don't call it shows; I call it broadcasts. But I want to thank everybody who helped out get the new year off to a great start for supporting the channel on Buy Me a Coffee. Gary and Mike and Bev, hilarious too. Lone Wolf, Aaron jumped in with the ringing in of the new year, and Younger, who somebody I have to keep asking who's got that email that starts with Younger, and yeah. All right, folks. Well, I hope you're doing well with this weather. And I probably won't go live tomorrow unless something big happens, okay? And I'll probably go live Wednesday. But if something big happens, you'll know because you're subscribed and you hit the notification bell, right? You'll know. But if you're not subscribed, you won't know. So anyway, hopefully we'll have a nice, calm week, and we'll continue to hear more good news. And like the other thing they're trying to do is sell TikTok the day before Trump takes office. And Trump said, leave that up to me. Okay, so that's up in the air too. But the U.S. Steel deal fell apart. All right, let's see what happens with the TikTok business. And keep a positive attitude. All right, folks, I appreciate y'all spending your precious time with me. And I'll be seeing you soon. So y'all have a great night. This is Mountain Man, over and out.